Hey, what's up, y'all? It is Daphnique Springs, and I am here on Buzz Access. Make sure you check out my comedy special, Single Female, on YouTube right now.
I'm single. And some people get it confused when I say I'm single, that I'm not out here dating, like I'm not out here in these streets. But I am, you know. I got somebody different every night, you hear me? But when I say I'm single, I'm only single until I get married. Like, pretty much, I could meet my husband at my wedding. Only because my fiance didn't say I do fast enough, you know?
I feel like it's more women starting to get into comedy nowadays than what I saw when I first started 14 years ago. I started October 2010. And so what happened is I had this boyfriend in college. And he was like, oh, you out in LA, I have this friend, he lives out there, you should connect with him. And it was a guy that went to school with us, but he was a little bit older than me. He was like, hey, so you at least know somebody out here. Although my grandmother lived in Inglewood and I was coming from Florida, but it was good to know other people like in my age group and younger people, because the two people I only knew was like seniors, my grandmother and her husband. But he introduced me, I reconnected with his friend, and his friend had a friend. And his friend, Elijah, was doing a bringer show. And a bringer show, for people who don't know anything about comedy, when you're first starting, in order to get stage time, you'll do bringer shows. And that's where you bring like 10 minutes, and the promoter will give you, you'll bring 10 people, and they'll give you 10 minutes of stage time. So basically, they're charging $20 per ticket, right? And you brought 10 people. So that's $200 for the promoter and $0 for you. And you just get, in exchange, the 10 minutes of stage time in front of an audience, because everybody else on the show had to bring somebody as well. And then the headliner usually is a friend or a bigger comic they'll have in the show. And then they don't have to bring anybody. So he introduced me to this guy. I was one of his bringers in order for him to get stage time. And I was like, hey, I think I want to get into this, because when I first moved to LA, I didn't know what I wanted to do in the industry. I just knew I didn't want to be in an adult industry. Okay. You got to always put that out there. I didn't want to do porn. I just knew I wanted to be in the film industry, but I didn't know what angle just yet. So when I saw him do this comedy show, I was like, yo, I could do that too. Yeah. I think I might can do it a little bit better, and because we all got an ego. And the guy said, if you bring 10 people next week, you can go up. And I was like, okay. And my grandma, you know, she came up there, my people came, and then I was able to go on stage. And then that was October 2010. And we are now in June 2024, and I'm still here.
Did you hear about that little 6-year-old that shot the teacher? Yep. That's crazy. The fucked up part is, how did he have good aim? Ain't no way a half a human could shoot me. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. You're not quick enough.
The first moment I was on stage is the most confident I have ever been on stage, because you just don't know what to expect. You go up there fully pumped. Even to this day, I'm just like, yo, I could have did that better. I could have did that better. You start to beat yourself up a little bit because you're aiming for this level of perfection. And we don't even know what that level of perfection is. We just constantly become insecure about your stand-up and your set. No matter how great people tell you were, you be like, yo, I could have did this better. But when I first went on stage, that was the most confident I had ever been. And it's never been the same. I think it's just like when people say they do crack for the first time. You know, they said it's the best high. So they spend the rest of their life chasing that first high. So me going on stage was for the first time. I never did crack, but it's equivalent to a crack experience. It was the most confident, the most fierce I ever felt. And every day I'm trying to chase that again. And back in the day, whenever I used to check the schedule all the time at the Ontario Improv, look up the schedule and then ask comedians that were out there, hey, could I come up and just guest spot? And I used to do that for Earthquake and Guy Torrey, and Mike Epps has given me stage time. And then it's just really propelled to bigger opportunities now, just being on tour and headlining myself. And, you know, doing arena tours. So it started out in the clubs, and then you build up to the arenas.
So the other day she tried to front me out because I'm in my 30s with no kids, and she ain't seen a man around in years. So she said, baby, are you gay? I said, damn, grandma, where you learn gay from? That's progressive. She was like, Dr. Phil. I was like, no, grandma, I'm not gay. I'm bi. Not bisexual, bipolar. And
I really don't care about getting canceled. I'm going to say what I want to say. And if it offends people, what you find out throughout this is being a content creator, if you look at comments, you're always going to offend somebody. I think it's a difference between like you being just raw and you just being outright offensive. And sometimes that can be very intentional. So when your intention is to be like, yo, this is how I feel and this is what I'm going to say, then if you come from that intent, but I come from the intent of just like, yo, you can't tell me I can't talk about this subject or that subject because I'm really being inclusive. And to exclude a certain group from an actual joke is different from ranting and just being mean. But an actual joke to me is really excluding them from the laughs in the conversation. And, you know, we live in a society where everybody has an opinion that can be visually seen, right? Because when you see a negative comment, you see how many people like that. And some people just write negativity just so they can get likes on the comment. Then you go to their page and they selling some little bullshit dollar store stuff that they just really want to say something negative to get a group of people that come over and maybe look at their product. But I don't think nobody can ever really get canceled because unless you go to jail. That's my theory. If you go to jail, your ass is canceled because you're not free in the world to do what you want. But at the end of the day, is R. Kelly really canceled? I mean, people still listen to his music, right? Y'all act like y'all don't do it in public, but y'all still stepping in the name of love. You know what I mean? You still believe you can fly. But the Cosby Show, you like still, if the episode come on, you still gonna watch it. Harvey Weinstein, how many movies do we have that we probably don't watch on repeat and don't even know that he was the producer behind it? So can you ever really cancel somebody? And with stand-up comedians, it's hard to cancel them as long as their fan base doesn't cancel them. Because another thing I noticed too, when people be like, yo, you're canceled, they were never truly fans that supported you, ever bought a ticket, ever broke bread, ever really followed you. It's just people, when a blog or somebody brings attention to something, they come from the floodgates of like, yo, I don't support you, you trash. And it's like, you've never been a supporter, you've never been trash. So you see that people can't really get canceled as long as their fan base doesn't cancel them.
Reason why I get turned on now in my 30s by love handles is because I'm like, oh shit, he owns property. That's a house body, 401k body, life insurance body. You know what I mean? Now when I see muscles, I'm like, apartment body. Now when I see a man with a six-pack, I'm like, run, bitch, he got 6 roommates.
Yeah, I think people are mad at the truth, you know? I have a joke that I thought I was being inclusive about men who are out of shape. And people are like, yo, you're just a gold digger. You're broke. And I'm like, where do you make up these false narratives from? I don't understand it. But hey, people are going to say whatever they want. And a lot of people are getting all their context off of one 30-second to minute clip. And they have formed an opinion to hate you for life. And it's like, yo, if you go watch the full context of things, and you stop being a instant buyer of something, then you'll see that maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe you had to listen to the setup.
It's crazy because I think about Molly, you know what I mean? Like, I want to do it again. But I'm one of them type of people, like, I just don't, it got to be the right moment. So my homegirl hit me up recently. She was like, girl, we going to go to Cancun. And I was like, ooh, shit, I'm going to get some Molly. She was like, okay. Where are you going to get it from? And I was like, So I called my little cousin up. He's 22 years old, and he's a mumble rapper. Like, I don't never know shit he be talking about, but he in the studio. He got to know where some drugs at. And I don't know what it is, because he's 22. I try to relate to 22-year-olds, so I sing stuff to try to be cool. So I'm like, hey, what's up? You got some Molly? And he was like, no, I got crack. And I was like,
I think that the internet is a huge blessing, because what the internet has done for a lot of comedians who really utilize it is it has taken away so much power from gatekeepers. Because back in the day, you had to have like a studio or festival or certain people. Now you can just go straight to the consumer. And I think back in the day, you had to have middlemen to bring you to the consumer, right? And these could be big studio movie producers, casting directors, and all this. But nowadays with the internet, you can take yourself straight to the consumer. And it's like, hey, and not only the consumer, the worldwide consumers. I mean, I would love to be on a lot of platforms, a lot of streaming services, but I'm also not going to let that place so much of a value on me as a talent and as a comedian that, oh, my value is because I had this opportunity. No, my value is that I wake up every day, I create content, I put that out, I try to do good work and do business. That's my value. I work on my material. I give people a great show. That's my value. My value doesn't have to be, oh, you got a Netflix special. What? Because I've also seen people get specials and then you never really hear from them again. So I think it's important just to continue like placing value and doing the work, and all the great things like a Netflix special will come, and then it'll be more valuable. What I've noticed about this industry, and this is just my opinion, is that people who don't get the big stage and stuff, sometimes it's just purely their work ethic. You know, they try to make it seem like people hating on them and they so funny. I know so many women comics. I know male too, but we're talking about women right now. But women comics that, you know, they go up twice a month. I mean, it's hard to get on a big tour if you're not buzzing. I'll never forget, like, this one guy, he was a manager, and he gave me the best advice. He said, when I was first coming up, he said, get on as many flyers as you can. And when he said that, I was like, why you say that? He said, because he said, you got to figure if it's 6 people on that show, all 6 people are sharing that flyer. Now your face goes out to every 6 people, to their fan base. And so now you're just building. So get your face on as many flyers as possible. And that was my work ethic. And then it's like, yo, I need to, if I can get my face on 5 flyers this week, I'm doing good. If I can get my face on 10 flyers, I'm doing good. And a lot of comics that I know, women comics, they're only getting their face on 1 or 2 flyers a month. And I think it's hard to build traction there. And I think that funny always wins. So it's just about working on your act and constantly putting yourself out there, doing open mics. You know, you'll be surprised how many people you can meet and build with in the open mic community as well. Doesn't always have to be a big show. It leads up to that. So just work ethic.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but gentle parenting is for gentle children. Okay, let me give you an example of gentle parenting. And if this does not work for your child, I'll give you another option. Stop doing that. Gentle parenting is trying this approach. Hey, please do not throw that. When you throw that toy, it makes things unsafe. I'm going to put this toy away until tomorrow. Then I'll give you another chance to play with it. If your child pick that toy up and throw it again, gentle parenting don't work.
I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, and they was like, such and such put such and such on. And I was like, I don't think anybody ever puts you on if you put the work in. Yeah. It's going to be so many building blocks and relationships and people that you meet in between that's going to lead you to everything to be the star that you were born to be. And I feel like God puts all of these people in your life and all of these opportunities in your life because you already meant to be who you are going to be. So, and that's just one blessing that came into my life. And, you know, a lot of things came to fruition.
I remember this Black Lives Matter shit. That was crazy during the pandemic. And one of my girlfriends, she hit me up and she was like, yo, we got to do more. And I'm like, what more should we do? Like, we done been to 15 marches. She was like, nah, but we got to do more. And I was like, well, what else do you want to do? She was like, I'm sick of these cops killing black men. And I was like, but you done had 10 abortions. You've killed more black men in the city of New York City.
July 19th, July 20th, we're going to be in Chandler, Arizona on the Martin Lawrence tour. And I'm doing Country Wayne and Friends. Okay. Yep. doing the King's Theater in Brooklyn, August 3rd. So just go to my website and check all my dates, and hopefully I'll be in a city near you, and you come out and see me. We're going to have a lot of laughs. Hi, my name is Daphnique Springs, and you just been buzzed.
I'll be like, get the fuck out of here. You're not quick enough. I guess these teachers got to have candy in their pocket and throw it to distract the kids like dogs if they got weapons. Remember back in the day they were saying teachers to be armed? Do y'all remember that? Yeah.